We are back. We are back. We are back with another television series review. We are reviewing Reasonable Doubt, season 3, episode 1 is called Feeling It. I'll be back after this and we're going to get it. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and we are into another television series review. We are in season 3 now. I have a playlist for Reasonable Doubt season 1 and season 2 in my playlist. Y'all go check that out. We are in season 3. We may be just a tad behind, but we are still here, y'all. I'm 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 still here. Here. Shout out to Tisha Campbell. Y'all, we're going to get into this. We've got a lot to cover. This season is different from pretty much all the other seasons. We have a television star who is a child star that is matriculating into adulthood. His name is Ozzy Edwards, and Ozzy Edwards had been riding high. Everything has been going well, but he has a girlfriend. And Ozzy Edwards, let me do this because I think the best thing for me when I'm reviewing this is to have a visual aid in who I am speaking about. So that is what we're getting ready to do. Let me add this to the stage real quick. Huh, where is it? Let me add this to the stage. All right. So here's the cast for season 3. And so here we have Jack Stewart. Now she is the main protagonist. We've got Lewis Stewart, who is her husband. We have Bill Sterling. Now Bill Sterling has a huge role, but he is also in the co-worker situation. Lewis Stewart has his own storyline going. Jack Stewart has her own storyline going. And then we have Oren Saul Ozzy Edwards. He is the person that's accused. Now, let's get a little backstory about little Mr. Ozzy. Ozzy is again he has a television show I can't remember what the name of the television show, but it was a la like a mixture of Different Strokes and Family Matters. That's what it seems like because he was the little neighbor that came over, and the little neighbor had a little catchphrase, and he has a little catchphrase. So he is the accused. So let's just set this up. Now, this, as it came on, we see Jax, and Jax is going into a room. Somebody is on the ground or something. She is like screaming and hysterical about it. And then it cuts back to 6 months previous. And so this is where the storyline starts 6 months before that. Now, Reasonable Doubt is good for doing that. They will show us a present day scene and then take us back a year, 6 months, 2 years. But this particular episode, they're only taking us back 6 months. Now, the title of this episode is called Feeling It. So, as we left off the second season, you remember that was the season of Chanel being on trial for the murder of her husband. And we find out that it was actually her eldest daughter that murdered her husband, but she was covering for the young lady. But during that season, Lewis had gotten into an affair with their friend Tony. Now, Lewis is right here in the middle, and they got into an affair. He got into an affair with the young lady over here, Tony Holly. Okay, Tony Holly became pregnant, and they had a baby. She went into labor early. The baby was born preemie, and the baby did not survive. Lewis, because one of the things and the characteristics about Lewis is that Lewis does a lot of things, but then he doesn't want to accept the responsibility for certain things. And then when his feelings are hurt about something, or when he is not in control about something, he does silly stuff. He does stupid stuff, and it exasperates the whole situation. So when little Jaden, that was the name of the baby, when the baby died, Lewis decided that he wasn't going to go to no funeral. He wasn't going to do none of that stuff. All right. And so that enraged Tony, and Tony decided that she was going to sue Jax and Lewis for emotional distress because of the fact, emotional distress and some other things that were going on as well. And so this is how we start this season off, that Tony is still suing them for money because of the baby dying. Jax is a couple of now let's go into Jax and her job. Now, Jax is a partner. She is not really feeling fulfilled in her job because every time she has a case, people are settling or people are pleading out. Now, that has been an issue with the other partners because, again, here's some themes that are going on with there. That has been an issue with the partners because they are used to her be having high billable hours. However, Jax is messy. Every case that she has been on, it has been messy. She has been messy. And so they reap good financial benefits, but there's always a cause involved. There's always a messiness involved. So but she's still made partner, and she is on the letterhead. However, she is being questioned. She continuously is questioned about her work. And she's also not feeling fulfilled because she is a litigator and she wants to litigate, and she's not litigating in this situation. So then we have Bill. Let's get back to him. You have Bill Sterling. Now, Bill Sterling, as far as the attorneys in the firm, outside of Jax, he is one of the highest billable, getting those billable hours, because that's important for a lawyer, getting those billable hours. He's in civil law, and so he has closed some huge cases, huge lawsuits. He has had a lot of billable hours, and he has been working at the firm for about 6 years, and now he wants to make partner. The two white guys who are partner, they're all ecstatic for him to make partner. What's happening is that Jax is like, he made a monumental mistake a few years ago when he first started, and he doesn't have any criminal law experience. He's not doing any criminal law. And so she's feeling like he needs to be more well rounded, because I am quite sure that is what they told her. She needs to do civil law, she needs to do criminal law, and then it took her 8 years to make partner. He's in his 6th year, and she's saying that he's not ready. The partners are saying that he's ready. He believes that he's ready, but Jax was the dissenting vote. And so what the two white partners tell Bill is like, look, if you want to they go do a little closed door deal. If you want to make partner, you need to chummy up to Jax. You need to do what you need to do to chummy up with Jax. Now, the one thing about Bill that I'm learning, that as I'm watching, there's something else going on with Bill. Bill gives us, it's like he has like this tamped down rage, and it is off-putting. All right. So we've got to look for that. So let's get into this story of Mr. Orensaw Ozzy Edwards. This is a great story. So let me get to the players over here. Here's the case. So we have over here Monica Wilson. Now, Monica Wilson is Ozzy's agent. Now, if you're familiar with Brandy, that's Brandy. Her real name is Brandy. I can't think of it. I think it's Brandy Evans. I think it is. But she plays in P Valley. So anyway, Brandy goes to Jax and says, "Hey, listen. We need an attorney to help us out with the situation. I have my client who is dating his stylist, and the stylist they're in a relationship, and they are wanting to get her to sign an NDA. So she brought Jax in to talk with Ozzy, to talk with his parents, who are Rose and Sal Edwards, who are his parents. They are his momager and dadager. They have been managing her career, and then the agent, Ozzy's agent, has been getting him the gigs and getting them the jobs. And one of the things that stood out to me is she said something to the effect like this is Monica Wilson. He is on par to be have the biggest role outside of the MCU. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So what I have in my hand is all my copious notes. So I'm trying to get through everything. So as Jax is going to this meeting, the one thing that she notices is that Ozzy is quite despondent. He is not really paying attention in this meeting. They're like I said, they are wanting to get him to sign the NDA. And he is not willing to want to sign that NDA. So let's get back to coworkers. We have Corey Cash. Remember, Corey was huge last season. He was the lead attorney for the case, and I do believe he was a partner in the firm as well. But he has subsequently left the firm, and he has moved. His base is now being moved to Chicago, because you remember at the end of season 2, he won. Well, Chanel was still convicted of manslaughter, but they worked it out that she was only going to get her time served, and that she had to wear an ankle monitor and home arrest and all of that other stuff. And he was able to get the first client that he had, who was convicted under the abuse, under spousal abuse. He was able to get her off, or get her case appealed, and she was out. So his, I guess his time in LA is gone, and he is like between LA and Chicago. Okay. So he is being awarded an award, and Jax is, though she's happy about it, she's still a little salty because, again, she wasn't the lead on the case. She was the co-lead, and they did not give her an award along with him. But she did go to support. But she still felt some kind of way. But she went because the group that was given the award has been big in the community, and she wanted to support. And while she is there, guess who she runs into? She runs into Mr. Ozzy. She runs into Ozzy, and he has his girlfriend in tow. So let's get down here to show you who the girlfriend is and who is the subsequent victim in this case. Here she is, and she's played by Rumi Willis, who is Bruce Willis's daughter. That she is playing Wendy Collins. Ozzy brings Wendy to the event because he is being awarded at this same event. He brings her to the event, and then he kind of talks back and forth with Jax about it. And Jax is just getting the feeling that he doesn't really want to sign that NDA. She gives him some advice, and she gives him a card. She says, if things gets messy, give her a call. Jax and Lewis go out on a date. Jax runs into another lawyer that she knows. And who comes up from behind that lawyer? Tony. And Jax and Tony go at it in the restaurant. They get home, and Lewis is upset because he's like, y'all are going back and forth and anything. And I'm so sick of you going off on her. And Jax, rightfully so, basically Jax says, who am I to you? I'm your wife. This woman comes and she says some off the cuff stuff to me, and then I say something off the cuff to her, and you back her up. So the next day, or the next few days, Ozzy goes and he meets with his parents, right? He goes to their home and he meets with his parents. He says he wants to have a meeting with them, and they're like, okay, cool. Well, he sits down and he tells them that, number one, he is not signing the NDA. Number two, he's firing them as the manager. And him and Wendy he's thinking about him and Wendy getting married. Now, the mother is cool as a pickle, but she's making sure that he knows. You think that you are out here with this mediocre, and this is the mother's word, this mediocre white woman who is 10 years older than you, and the optics don't look right. She looks like she's taking advantage of you. You know, you this about your first really, your first or second real good girlfriend, and it doesn't look right. Why is your style? Why are you dating your stylist? You can do much better than that. He's like, we're in love, and there's nothing that you can say. But the mother tells him, and this is part of the stuff in the story. Well, if you're going to do this, then you need to know everything about her. Whatever this mother tells him, Ozzy goes back to um, Wendy and baby. They have a big brouhaha in the front of his house, and he's explaining to her he wanted her to sign the NDA. She says she's not going to do it. They just go back and forth and back and forth. Their argument is picked up by the ring camera of their neighbors, and then they part ways. Well, the next day, Wendy's assistant goes to the police and she wants to report her friend missing. And the police, and one of the things that stood out to me in this whole scene was the fact that she was reporting her friend, her employer missing. And the way the officer was taking the report, she was like, oh, well, people, may be drunk, or they be out. And she says, no, she had a job to do. And if you understood her or knew her, she doesn't miss anything. She does not miss a job. And so the lady was still the police officer was still basically trying to make her wait a couple of days before she takes the report. And then Nisha had to tell her she's white. Then all of a sudden everybody perks up and everything. Oh, and then she was like, the last person that seen it she was out with was her boyfriend. And they're like, who is her boyfriend? So then she tells the name of the boyfriend. And again, Ozzy is known in these Hollywood streets as a big time actor. So the police call him in. Now, Ozzy's personality is part naive, part asshole, part something else, because again, he's always like despondent, or he acts like he doesn't know what's going on, but he does know what's going on, but he doesn't at the same time. I don't even know how to even explain how he acts. So he goes into the police office, the police station, and they're asking him about his girlfriend, and he's like, he's not worried. you know he's like, she does this. And they're like, well, y'all had a fight. And so immediately he's talking too much. There it is. Since I thought I had to sneeze. He's talking too much. Y'all, when y'all go to these police stations and things like that, I don't care if you're a witness. If you can have an attorney present with you, because they come in like they're buddy and like they're doing that. But no, they are looking at you as a suspect until they don't. And a lot of times that's all they do is look at you as the suspect. But he doesn't seem to understand it until about after he's basically said too much. So he goes home, he calls Corey, then Corey calls Jax because he wants to hire her. That happens, but again, Ozzy is doing he's team do too much. You understand what I'm saying? He's just team do too much. He's not calling. He does not call the girl. Some of the things that make him look suspicious. He doesn't call the girlfriend after they have the fight. Even when he doesn't answer the phone when the assistant keeps calling him. Once it makes the news that the girl is missing, and the police are talking to him, he still doesn't call. Jax gives him a whole plan about call her, put up an award to see if you can find her. She actually plays out this whole plan. He doesn't follow it, child. He doesn't follow it. And then he's shocked. He's shocked. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't follow what she says. He's kind of shocked. I mean, all the stuff that she laid out for him to do, he doesn't do it, child. Jax, he hires Jax. Jax hires Bill to be her second chair, and Bill alerts the other partner, the two white guy partners, that Jax has allowed for him to be a second chair. Now, Lewis meets with Tony because you remember I told you after Jax and Tony had that big brouhaha in the restaurant. Lewis goes and he meets with Tony, and Tony has a proposal, an indecent proposal. She said that she will drop the lawsuit if Lewis spends the night with her. And baby, that's the show. What in the world? Why is she wanting Lewis to spend the night? I don't understand. I don't understand that. But let's get into, as we do in our Reasonable Doubt series, and now we go over all of this. Hold on, y'all. Let me get it. I thought I had queued it up, but I didn't. And as this is a murder mystery type situation, we have an accused, but we got to figure out who's done what they've done, and what questions that we have at the end of the episode. Let's get into that. Let me share my screen. Let me pull it up. All right. All right, here we go, child. Here we go. Ozzy, what you hiding? What are you hiding? You got a lot of stuff that you're hiding. And so this is what we titled. So we go over through the whole episode. And if there are questions that we have about that episode, we're going to ask these questions. And then we're going to see in the next episodes who answers these questions. And questions that have not been answered, they continue to carry over until those questions are answered. All right. So the first question is, as this whole scene kicked off, who is Jax crying over? What's going on? Who is Jax crying over? Because again, all of this is leading to that particular point in time. Who is Jax crying over? Why is Bill so creepy? Again, Bill has this tampered down rage, and he's very calculating and how much that he wants to get out. Why is he being so creepy? Why is Tony suing? What is her real reason? And why is she wanting Lewis to spend the night with her? What does she want? What now? Here's the big thing about the case. What did Ozzy's mom tell him about Wendy that made him change his mind and have that big argument with Wendy? And why is Ozzy so despondent? Why is he acting like he's so uninterested? I mean, just so uninterested in everything. He's not interested in finding Wendy. He's not interested in any of her disappearance. He's not calling. He's not doing any of these things. Why is this so? Baby, we're going to have to get those questions answered, hopefully in the next episode. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, how did y'all feel about this first episode of Reasonable Doubt season 3? It's coming along. I will be doing the second episode after this. So make sure that you all tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that helper that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.